You know, when something's just pissing you off that much, finished it, literally just dropped my tools and went, right, sod it. And someone always comments on my videos about protecting my eyes when chopping off tiles. I can't remember who it is. Someone does, but don't worry, got the uni light, safety goggles on the go. I look like this plate here should have gone in before it was all tiled. Bear with me a little bit. Doing barn conversions like this, nothing's ever straightforward. Who is it? Pete Tom. Pete, was it Pete Tom? So we'll mark this up, get these drilled out, and then hopefully we can work from underneath. Obviously the tiles there, then we've got the board. Good job we never put the underfloor heating loops in here. Harry Hill, sod it, I'm not doing it. I'm sure you'll all comment and let me know exactly who you think I look like. But that has just taken probably 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours to get to this point here. Just remembered, Judge Jules. Barnes, eh? Look at me, I'm covered. So guess where we are? Yes, back at the barn renovation. So we swung in today, I've got today and tomorrow, just finish off a few little bits so the lads can like board the ceilings below. So for instance, this bathroom, Terry's been in, I think yesterday and the day before, tiling the floor. So now the floors are tiled in this bathroom, Scott and his missus have put exactly where they want this bath and those taps. So what I've done is marked around the bath, the base of the bath, so we know exactly where that's going. So we can lift that out of the way now and get the waste sorted on it, and we can mark around the feet of the taps, so we can then drill through these tiles, through the joist below, and connect into the pipework below. The problem is doing bathrooms like this, you've got to get everything in the right place at certain times during the build. So we've had to wait for the tiles to go down before we can set this bath into position and the tap. So we'll whip this out of the way now. We've got it marked up round it. We know exactly where it is. We can work the waste out, and as I've said, we can sort out where the taps have got to go. Right, so I've marked around the bath, as you can see here, and I've also marked where the taps are going. Now, I've just unpacked the taps. These are the first times I've seen these taps. I've just unpacked them. Usually you come off the bottom of these sort of freestanding bath taps. They come out straight off the bottom with connectors, or they go flexes or whatnot straight into the bottom of the tap. These ones come with basically a plate that bolts in, if I can do it one-handed, I can, that bolts into there, and then the tap drops into it. So this plate here should have gone in before it was all tiled and boarded, and to be fair, I'm not sure if it's going to fit under where the joists are going. So we've got a bit of an issue with this, and I'm a little bit unsure how we're going to sort it out. So bear with me a little bit. I'm just going to I'm going to speak to Scott and just see what we think is the best option for this, because it's, at the end of the day it's got to go in. So whether it means some of that coming up or what, we'll have to take a look and see. After a lot of head scratching, this is the bar that the tap sits on, so this is what we've got to work with. Now, if you look, that bit there is going to be, that bit there has got to be flush with the tile. So that's the position it's got to sit in. So all of this has got to be underneath. Now, luckily enough for us, we haven't boarded the ceiling underneath because we're looking to fit the taps for here. So fortunately, we can still get access underneath. So I'm going to get two bent main line to coppers off the edge of there, offer this up underneath where it's got to go, and then drill these two pilot holes through, because we've got to expose this area and this area so that all we see poking out the floor is that, and then the tap will sit down onto it. But again, it's real world plumbing. Doing barn conversions like this, nothing's ever straightforward. those taps are different to those taps are different to those taps. So I've come this morning to get these in, thinking it was just going to be drill 2 holes, drop them in, bolt it to the floor, job done. Hence why we had it all tiled. Nothing's ever that straightforward. So let's go and get some bits and see if we can make this work. Right, so I've just got back from Plumb Base. I've picked up a male iron to copper, bent ones, onto that bar that the taps are going to actually sit in. And as we've sort of worked out, the trimmer we think is around there. So if I mark directly down where the taps are going to go, there and there now, what I'll do is drill a pilot hole through there, and then we can go underneath and just see if we're in the right position before we carry on too much and get carried away. Right, so we've got a pilot hole through. We poke screwdriver down in it, we'll go down, look underneath and see if we can spot exactly where it's coming out. So we've got the end of it there. Let me have a quick look. Right, it's sort of come out between, right in the middle of these joists, which is a bit of a pain. But let's take this out so we can see what we're at. We need it to be sort of there and there. Let's go and get the fit in, offer it up into position. At least we know now we've got a point to work from. We know that hole is relatively in the middle there. I'll get a tape measure and work it out. But to be fair, it looks bang on centre of there. Right, so now we've got that hole through there. I've worked it out that bar and fitting has got to sit, because we've got this bolt coming through there. That's the only feasible place it can sit in relation to how it's going to be upstairs, if that makes sense. So I've marked where they've got to go. So I'll measure off that, and then I can work out what that one is off that pilot bit, and then we can go upstairs, drill through. Yes, I've put one through there. We can put a bit of grout in there, or colour match it to the tile and fill it. That won't be a problem, but it was we just needed a point to start from. So we'll work that out from there. I'll measure off that, and then back there, and we'll know exactly above where we can drill through. I'm thinking that mark there, and that mark there. As I say, we'll have to fill this one. I think Terry the tiler will have something we can just fill that in with. That's not an issue. Plus the bath and the taps and everything will be there anyway, so you'll never see it. But we'll fill that. That's a minor issue compared to sorting this out. Okay, we know that this point here now and this point here tallies up with where our taps want to go. So this bit coming out and this bit coming out. Underneath, under the floor, is where we can bolt on there and get the hot and colds in. But what we've got to do now is drill out round there and expose for the lugs, because that, as we've seen before, bolts onto the bottom of the tap. So with that in position, I've marked out the holes, as I said, and if we then get the tile bit, cut that out, and then for the lugs on the side, just do that. So in effect it's going to be like that, crap drawing, but you get the idea. So we'll mark this up, get these drilled out, and then hopefully we can work from underneath and get this pain in the arse bracket in. It's never simple. So we've got the tile guide suckered onto the floor. These are perfect, and then just put the tile bit in there like that, and then as you get your drill on the end of it, obviously, as it spins, the wheels just keep it dead centre. Just enough to get your hole started, and away you go. But always keep it damp with the tile bit. So we'll soak the area, start drilling it out. Perfect, look at that. That's perfect. So we took out the top bit of tile. We'll get that drilled through now, get it through, because obviously the tile's there, then we've got the board. Good job we never put the underfloor heating loops in here. We've got the board there, then we've got the chipboard floor in, and then we expose straight down to downstairs. So we'll get this one drilled out, get that one drilled out, and take it from there. Those holes tally up now perfectly with where these holes have got to be. So that's fine, but we've now got the depth of that, which is, let me measure it, The depth of that is 700. And what we've got to do here is get the top of that to be 700, which is there. So a lot of the flooring now underneath has got to be cut out for that bracket to sit 700 from the top of that, because that's got to sit flush with the finished floor. It's just never easy. But it's how you deal with it. You know, you can't just go, sod it, I'm not doing it, blah, blah, blah. You've got to work it out. The customer wants the taps there, Scotty wants the taps there. But this is what it's like. You've got to just take your time, work it out, see how you can get it to work, and do what you need to do to get it to go in where they want it. Worst case scenario, take the floor up, replace the tiles and put it back down. It's not a big thing, but it's how you approach it. You've got to be in the right mindset to just go at it the way we have. Look at it, work it out, measure it, and go from there. So I'll take this down now underneath, mark out where we've got to get the multi-tool out and cut it out from underneath. This bracket has now got to sit into that position. In position, that's fine, but that has now got to sink within all of this here. So we've got to cut out a massive section of this through the floor, through the cement boards, and then through the tile that's there as well. It's a bit of a pain. So it just took me about half an hour to get this board out, just using the multi-tool to get this board out to sink that in, but it's still got to go up, so we've got to still lose the cement board, and I think with the cement board out we may get it, but we just got to keep going. And someone always comments on my videos about protecting my eyes when chopping off tiles. I can't remember who it is. Someone does, but don't worry, got the uni light, safety goggles on the go. I look like, who is it? Pete Tong? Was it Pete Tong? Harry Hill? Fucking one of them. I'm sure you'll all comment and let me know exactly who you think I look like. Just remembered, Judge Jules. So that's took about an hour now to get to this point, but we're making some headway. So it's now sitting in there. I think, see these little lugs? See these little lugs on the side here? Which ones is it? These lugs on the side here, they have got to sit within the floor for the taps to bolt into. So I reckon if we cut out the lugs above, I think that's going to finally sit in place. But what a ball ache. So it looks like where we've been rattling it and whacking it underneath, it's brought some of the grout out and that. So that's not an issue, Terry can tile that. So what we're going to do is, I reckon, see these lugs, as I was saying a minute ago, these lugs, they need to be cut out. So if we look down above it, I can mark exactly where these lugs have got to go. Like that. 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 So we've marked where those lugs are. So now if I get that tile bit and cut them out, I think, touch wood, that valve then is going to sit underneath. I hope so, because it's beginning to piss me off. Right, so that's the lugs took off. So now you can sort of see a bit better what I meant. Just move that out of the way, I'll clean that up in a second. But those lugs now will allow us, I hope, for that to sit from underneath. Just go and give it a go. Right, let's see if it fits in. So that's for them lugs cut out. No, something's still holding it. Something's still pushing against it, I think. Yeah, it will be. For fuck's sake. It's going to be the length of that lug to the top of that nut. Fucking hell, so we're going to have to cut even more out. So we've taken out from the bottom of here now, that much we're on the bottom of the tile. So that gap there between the top and that nut is what we're dealing with. That's probably about a tile's depth as well. So if I offer that into place, that's the best we're going to get it. So tomorrow we can come off them 2 main line to coppers, pipe it up, get something underneath here to hold it into position, and then the tap can go in from above. But that has just taken probably 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours to get to this point here. Barnes, eh? Look at me, I'm covered. Right, it's the following day. As you can see, early in the morning, beanies on because it's so bloody cold in this barn. Right, so I got to a point last night, and right, sod it, I'll come back and crack on with it tomorrow. You know, when something's just pissing you off that much, finished it, literally just dropped my tools and went, right, sod it. So, we're back this morning to this little gem. We're there or thereabouts with it. We think we're lining up with it all right. As you can see, those lugs are going to fit in there with a little bit of tweaking. So what I'm going to do now is make the 2 bent main line to coppers in to here, reduce down to 15mm on the bottom, and then what we've got to do is screw something from above into a bit of timber, so that we can then offer that underneath into place, then screw that from below into position, so that basically just these are sticking through the top there, but it's got to be solid. Then we can push the tap grommets on and bolt it all into place. That's the plan anyway, so we'll give it a go and see what happens. That's the thing, it's just a case of trying it, making sure it works. Because once this is in, we've then got to work on the waste for the bath. You know, we're half a day in just trying to fit a pair of taps. This is a little contraption. It don't look pretty, but it's going to work. So we've got to go underneath now, push this up through them holes so that we see just these bits on the top. And then what we can do is, that will be, I'll show you in a minute, but that'll be up into position. Then we can screw through the bottom of here and mount it so it is sitting flush on the floor there. So it's not pretty, but it's going to do the trick. That's that bracket into position underneath. We've just screwed it up. It looks horrific, so I'm not going to show you. Just the way we've had to batten it from underneath just to hold it into position. So that's the best we're going to get. It's probably about 10mm shy of the tile there. But what I'm going to do now is offer the taps into position just to see if everything we've done is going to work. If not, I don't know what we're going to do, but it looks about right. Ah, yes. You know when you just feel something push into position. Come on. Yes, that one's gone. Yes. Yes, that's it. Stress level just for that, just for fitting a tap. Now we know that's into position. So as you can see, these lugs, it's just relief. As you can see, these lugs now line up with them holes underneath. So, and at the back. So what I'm going to do is just bolt these in now, just to secure the tap into place, and then we can go underneath and I'll show you exactly how we've, I'm not going to say bodged, thought outside the box is what I'm going to say to get it in. That's so good that it just bolts together. Just looks a piece of piss now from the top, but Time wise, I'm going to say probably took the best part of 3-4 hours to get to this point, just to connect a set of fucking bath taps. Okay, that's that tap bolted in. There's a little bit of movement on it, so I've just got to go downstairs and screw it up completely. Where we've battened it, just screw it completely solid. So I take you down now. Don't judge me on what you're about to see. Right, remember what I just said. This is function over form. Is that the right word? Yeah, function over form. So, as I said, this doesn't look pretty, but it's doing its job. So we've had to batten it all out. So obviously we're going to get onto the hot and colds here, but we've had to screw this bit on, then put some packers in, then screw them bits on, then them bits on, just to make it solid. So what I've got to do now is bang a couple of screws through there, because it's just pivoting a little bit on that, but we've just got to shore that up. But that was the only way that we was going to ever get that tap in. But as I said, this is real world plumbing. This is what I want to show you. It's little things like this that just swallow up hours and hours of your day just to get a bath tap in. So now those bath taps are finally in, we can finally get on to the bath waste. So because this is a bath that is completely flush to the floor, what we've got to do is I've marked up where it is. So this is the point where the bath waste falls. So what I'm going to do is drill a hole through here, get the waste pipe in up here on an elbow, and then what I'll do with this is put a flexi connector from the bottom of the trap onto where we've got the pipe poking up. Some people are going to moan about it, which they can, that's fine, but that is the way that I do it, because the way we're going to have to do it is lift the bath, connect, get my arm underneath, connect it all up, and then drop it down into place. It's the only feasible way I find personally to do them without, you know, too much stress. Right, so let's get this hole drilled out and make a start. I'll just put the bath into the position exactly where it's going to go, took the waste out, and then marked through that hole directly down, so it's here. That's where it's going to go. So we know that trap is going to sit about there. So what I'll do now is get some pipe out of here, and then we can just put a flexi connector on the bottom of there. It can, you know, it can go any way it wants to go then to work around it. So let's sort the waste out, down through the floor, across and into the stack, which is right over in that corner. So the bath taps are in. We're now going to tackle the waste for this bath. So as a bit of a brief outline, this waste pipe here is from the shower in that same bathroom. So that's coming down here, along there, and it's going into this stack here. This pipe here is what is going to be from that bath. So we're going to be this side of that joist, because we've got a double trimmer, obviously we can't go through it. So it's going to come out here, drop down, and then into this boss here. So this area, I mean, Scott already knows, but this is going to have to be slightly boxed because of this. Whereas this, because it's going to be coming down here and going into there, this boxing may have to come off quite a way, to be fair, just to accommodate where that's going to come down here. It's things like this, again, it's things like this that just add time, stress, and a case of just doing what you've got to do, really, to get the waste. So it's going to come down, it's going to drop down out of there, forget that waste pipe for a minute, it's going to drop down out of there, and then it's got to get into that stack. So either way, the boxing is going to have to come to there, which is a bit crap, but I mean, even if they just box the top bit, luckily on a barn conversion, with the odd little box in here and there and a, you know, off level bit of timber there, it doesn't look too bad. So we're going to have to just run that by Scott, see how he wants to do it. That's the only feasible way of getting them wastes into that stack. So I've marked up where the first boss is going to do. What I'm going to do is drill that out, fit that, get that in, connect this waste into that one, so that one is done complete, and then we can work back with the one for the bath. That's the waste pipes in, that one's for the shower, this one's for the bath. As I've said, it doesn't look great, but it's being boxed in around there, so you're never going to see that anyway. So it's running through the floor into there, and I shall pop you around and show you exactly where we've got to go with it. So that little hole there is where we're taking it under the bath. So we stick an elbow on there, up through there, and we're ready to go. Done. That's the waste up into the floor in the bathroom. We'll pop up now, have a look how it looks. Popping out the floor, as I've said, that trap will go there. We'll put a little bit of a flexi connector on there because the bath is flush to the floor, so there's no other access to get. So we'll have to have someone lift the bath up, connect the flexi waste on, connect it onto there, on the bottom of the bath, and away we go. So there we go, that's overcoming that tap. That waste, that weren't too bad, that's not an issue, it's that tap that was the big pain in the arse. So, hope you've enjoyed that. This is what goes on in real world plumbing.